The office was nearly empty, the hum of fluorescent lights mixing with the faint click of keyboards from the few late-night employees. I had stayed late, finishing reports, unaware that the night would twist my world inside out. My boss leaned against the desk, smirking with a confidence that made my stomach drop. "Your wife spending the night with me," he said, voice casual, almost playful, as if he were revealing a trivial secret. My heart froze for a fraction of a second. Then I breathed, feeling a cold, controlled fury settle in. I didn't argue. I didn't yell. I didn't plead. I simply pulled out my phone, finger steady, and dialed a number I had been saving for emergencies. The same number that held the truth he had no idea existed. As I spoke calmly, outlining the proof I had of his past dealings, his confident smirk faltered. Every word I spoke landed like a hammer, each revelation slicing away at the facade he had so carefully maintained. The power in the room shifted instantly from him to me. He tried to interject, to laugh it off, to claim I was overreacting, but I ignored him. Silence fell heavy and thick, punctuated only by the faint buzz of the phone and the echo of our footsteps. I watched him squirm, realizing that the games he had played, the manipulations, the hidden agendas, the arrogance were about to be laid bare. My blood ran cold with satisfaction as panic replaced his smirk. He understood in that instant that this wasn't a private secret anymore. My mind flashed briefly to my wife, the woman I had trusted with everything, the one I had loved with every fiber of my being. Betrayal is sharpest when it comes from the person closest to your heart. And the sting of her actions fueled the precise, calculated moves I now made. I had spent weeks carefully, meticulously gathering evidence, connecting dots, and tonight all of it culminated in a single devastating phone call. He squirmed in his chair, sweat beating on his forehead as the truth poured through the receiver. Every lie, every secret rendezvous, every whispered promise he thought was safe, gone in an instant. The color drained from his face as the consequences hit him like a freight train. I watched silently, not a word of gloating, just the controlled satisfaction of a man reclaiming his dignity and power. The office, though nearly empty, felt like a courtroom, and he was the defendant who had finally realized the verdict was inevitable. Then I turned my gaze to my wife, who had been silent throughout, watching the tension unfold from the doorway. Her eyes widened in panic, realizing that her betrayal had set in motion a chain of events she could never undo. Her lover, my boss, was crumbling before her eyes, not just in confidence, but in reputation. The thrill of secrecy she had once enjoyed evaporated into fear and regret. I took a step closer, letting the faintest trace of the intimacy we had shared flicker between us. A reminder that I was still present, still powerful, still untouchable. "I trusted you," I whispered, my voice low and deadly. "And you chose lies. You chose him." And now I let my words hang in the air, the silence amplifying every ounce of tension. Her lips trembled, a faint spark of the woman I once loved still evident in the way she looked at me. But desire could no longer save her. Love alone cannot protect against betrayal. I had learned that long ago. The phone call ended and I placed the device on the desk. My boss sat frozen, staring at the screen, fully aware that the walls around him had crumbled. His career, built on arrogance and manipulation, had collapsed in moments. The office air was heavy with disbelief, and I could feel the power in the room settle over me like a cloak of justice. My wife's eyes were fixed on me, pleading silently, a mix of fear, regret, and lingering desire that made the tension nearly unbearable. "Do you understand now?" I asked softly, stepping closer. She flinched, not from fear of me, but from the crushing weight of her own choices. "This isn't just about him," I said, letting my hand brush lightly against hers. A faint reminder of the intimacy we had once shared. "It's about trust. And once that's broken," I paused, letting her imagination fill in the blanks. "It's gone forever." Her lips quivered, and for a heartbeat, she leaned into my touch, torn between longing and terror. She fell silent, realizing the extent of what had just happened. Her affair had detonated into a public humiliation for her lover and left her exposed in ways she couldn't repair. I didn't gloat. I didn't yell. I simply stood there. The calm before the final irrevocable storm. The spark of fear and desire in her eyes reminded me of all the times we had been close. Of all the nights we had shared laughter and whispered secrets. But it also reminded me that power had shifted entirely. Finally, I turned toward the door. My steps deliberate, measured, echoing through the office like a drumbeat of control. "Tonight," I said over my shoulder, voice low, deadly, intimate. "You've learned a lesson about betrayal, and he's learned one about arrogance. And as for us," I let the words linger, letting the uncertainty hang between us, twisting desire with fear. Her face palled, realizing that the man she had thought she could manipulate now held the ultimate power. As I reached the elevator, I glanced back once. She was frozen, hands trembling, her lover's downfall fully etched into her mind. I whispered softly, almost romantically, yet coldly. "No one controls me. Not you, not him, and you'll remember this night for the rest of your life." The doors closed, leaving the office silent, a tomb of secrets exposed, and power reclaimed. Betrayal had burned everything to ash, but from that fire I emerged untouchable.